Hey everyone, Liz Miller back to give you a little bit of a perspective on CRTV about something we've been talking about for a really long time, at least in the marketing industry we have been. And it's been about the long farewell of the third party cookie. Yes, Google has been threatening this for years now, getting rid of them. No more third party cookies, right? And it's been one of the longest goodbyes I can think of in a really, really long time. But the day that we have been preparing for, the day that we have been looking out for, it is coming and it is going to happen just about as slowly as this whole roll up to this date has been. But it's happening. Here's the scoop. After years of warning, after years of me mocking things like the cookie apocalypse, as of January 4th, about 1% of Google's population now does not have those third party cookies reaching out to them. In fact, Google restricted access to third party cookies for about 1% of its users. To put that into perspective, 1% of Google's global users is the state of Texas, like literally the population of the state of Texas. So it's about 1% of the population, but that's also a really large number of people. So it's kind of got some advertising based companies a little bit nervous. So, what does that really mean? It means that this is the start of what Google calls a gradual transition. It's a gradual ramp up as they push forward towards 100% global users having restrictions and being third party cookie free by Q3 of 2024. So that gives us 3 quarters to see this number slowly start to tick up. Now, Google understands that this isn't going to be easy. It's not going to be this really fast roll up. We're hoping that the ramp up to all of this and all of the discussions around the elimination and the blocking of the third party cookie has really left a lot of our big brands, a lot of our advertising organizations, a lot of our websites already implementing alternatives. Of course, Google has an alternative with their new privacy sandbox. They are really looking for alternatives that they can provide to measurement, to targeting, finding new ways to target and engage with audiences through different cookies. It's important to remember that this does not banish all cookies. This is about third-party cookies. We also have to remember that the rollout is underway, but the rollout happened for a reason. Consumers really started to have enough. They didn't want all the third party cookies that really didn't provide any transparency into who was collecting their data, what data was being collected, what it was being used for, where it was going. There were a whole lot of questions. And so, rightfully, people started to look into this. Now, first and foremost, if you are still worried about what's happening with the deprecation of the third party cookie, take Google's advice, audit your sites. You do not know what you do not know. And that adage does not change here just because we're talking about something that sounds delicious like a cookie. If you don't know the third party cookies that you're using on your site, get really up to speed really fast. It should not be a shock that Google has tools that allow you to do this. Now, my recommendation, to be very honest with you, don't just use one thing. Don't just run one audit. You're going to want to look in a couple different places. You're going to want to go ahead and use Google's tools. You're certainly going to want to look at where these, look at those auditing pages. Look at what is listed, as something that is not same site. You're also going to want to start looking and searching manually. You never know. You never know what's hidden there, and it's going to be really important that we make sure that anything that is advertising based, we're either moving away from, we're phasing out, or we're starting to use other Google products if you're looking at that Chrome extension. But it's really time to start thinking about what consumers really want us to be doing, what they really want us to be using and connecting with. So don't forget those actual third parties as well. Your third party providers may already have a cookie that is dropped onto your site. Ask them, what's their plan? What are they doing? When are they starting to roll that back, roll that out? Are they looking at things like partitioning? Are they already involved in Google's privacy sandbox? So there's a lot of questions that we should have already had. But now, if you haven't had them, now's the time to absolutely do that. But here's the truth. We have been preparing for a really long time, really long time. And I think a lot of marketers have gotten really smart about those first party data requirements, building those direct relationships, building those consent based relationships where not only our customer knows when we're collecting, why we're gathering this information, why we're personalizing, what personalization looks like for them. What does targeting mean for them? Why is this a benefit? We're having more open value exchange conversations. At least we should be. So regulators didn't necessarily start all of this. We have to remember it was our customers that started all of this. So this is really about the best practices, about how we want to engage, how we want to measure, and let's not be lazy about this. Let's actually go out there and stop looking at cookies as a way to justify or, counting our engagements and justifying our investments. This is really about how we're choosing to personalize, how we're choosing to collect data, how we're choosing to engage. And if that's through a digital channel, so be it. We can't necessarily always blame the third party cookie for the things that went wrong. So, what do we need to do? Absolutely follow Google's advice. Let's get those audits rolling. Let's make sure we understand how we are deprecating these. Now, if you are a site that believes that your functionality is going to break because of the third party deprecation, there is an out. There is a window of opportunity where you can have more time to figure out how to resolve some of these issues. Keep in mind, these are strict guidelines Google has put in place. They are not going to give extensions to anyone who is an advertising or ad related business. So if you're trying to get an extension because it's ad related content, you want to get an extension because there's you're not going to get it. Okay. Google is only providing extensions to this deprecation for those sites and those properties where functionality is actually going to be damaged. So we're talking about privacy, we're talking about access, we're talking about all those SIAM use cases, right? So if you are in that spot, you've got about until April 1st to go ahead and be part of this program and ask for that type of leniency. And to be part of that program, you'll have to have those tokens. You'll have to have everything in place by April 1st of 2024 to be part of that exemption and part of that extension program. Otherwise, the advice is audit, fix, and get your personalization and your targeting in check, because there are better ways and there are different ways to do this. So the cookie, well, she is a crumbling, but there are lots of other ways. And I think we're really prepared to go ahead and walk into this cookieless future.